Hey guys, I'm Cece, these are my new glasses, and this is my very first ever Top 5 Wednesday. So, Top 5 Wednesday was created by Lainey at Ginger Reads Lainey, and I will put the link to her channel below, along with a list of other booktubers who do Top 5 Wednesday that you should totally check out, because they're really cool. Anyway, this first theme that I'm doing is Top 5 Favorite Books that you have read so far this year. These are in order, oddly enough, which is weird, because I'm terrible at putting things in order. I'm awful at it. I always rethink everything. But I think that I like the order these are in, and I'm excited to share them with you. 3 of these books I don't have physical copies of, because I read them at school, or I borrowed them from my sweet, wonderful best friend, roommate, greatest person alive, Janelle. I borrowed 2 of these books from her. I'm so glad that 2 of the books she gave me are my top 5 favorites so far. Anyway, let's just jump right into it. Number 5. Illusions, The Adventures of a Reluctant Messiah by Richard Bach. I received this book this Christmas from my cousin who reads it all the time. She gave me this book and said I had to read it, and I'm so glad that she did because I loved this book. It's a really, really tiny book. It's a really quick read. It's also really hard to describe. It's very strange to describe. It's sort of about these 2 guys who are pilots, but you know, the adventures of a reluctant messiah, there's obviously more to it than that they're both pilots. One of them is giving advice to the other, and it's pretty obvious he is a messiah, which is a weird premise, but has some really fantastic notes about life in it. It's just a really cool book. You should read Illusion. Number 4. Crown of Midnight by Sarah J. Maas. This is the 2nd book in the Throne of Glass series. Now, you'd think, because I also read Throne of Glass this year, that Throne of Glass would be my number 4 book. But you'd be wrong. Clearly. Because I didn't love Throne of Glass. I thought it was good, but Crown of Midnight, I loved. I devoured this book. It was amazing. I also already talked about it in my May wrap-up, so I'm going to stop raving now, because you can go over to that video, and you can see me just going crazy over Crown of Midnight. Wow. Number 3. The Bermuda Triangle by Maureen Johnson. This book has also been re-released as On the Count of 3, but I read it as The Bermuda Triangle. This was one of the books that I borrowed from Janelle, and I loved this book. There have been a lot of complaints about certain aspects of this book, but I don't agree with them. I think that this was a really amazing book. It's about 3 friends who were all really great characters, and I loved them. And it's also about learning about your sexuality and how you change and how it affects your friendships, and how these girls who'd been best friends forever, how their friendships sort of changed as they learn new things about themselves. I guess that's sort of a good description. It probably isn't. I loved The Bermuda Triangle. I'm so glad I read it. It was sort of my way back into young adult this year because I hadn't been reading a lot of young adult, and it definitely made me really like young adult again. Number 2. None of the Above by I.W. Gregorio. This book always messes with my lighting because it's like white, so every time I move it, the color on my face gets... Anyway. I already covered this book also in my May wrap-up, because apparently May was just a really good month. But None of the Above was a really good book, and all I will say about it is that it is about a girl in high school who discovers she is intersex. And if you don't know what that means, that is a reason alone that you should pick up this book and read it. So good. We're just gonna keep changing the lighting on my face. You should read None of the Above. And number 1. Feel like I should have like a drum roll or something. Okay, no, we're not gonna do that. So, number 1 was Fried Green Tomatoes at the Whistle Stop Cafe by Fanny Flagg. This was the other book I borrowed from Janelle. She read it before me, and I was so excited to be able to pick it up and read it. I'd seen the movie before, which I don't usually do, but I was really interested in seeing what the book was like. Guys, this book ruined the movie. There's so much they left out of the movie. I can't even... So much really important stuff that they left out of the movie that I feel like completely changes the message of the book. Anyway, I think the characters are really, really amazing. The atmosphere in this book is insanity. Like, reading it made me want to go to Whistle Stop and eat fried green tomatoes, which is ridiculous because I hate tomatoes. But I want to go eat fried green tomatoes. And I don't know, it made me want to drink sweet tea. This book has such an atmosphere, and Ruth and Iggy are such interesting characters, and all of the characters, you feel so connected to the town you're hearing this story about, and it was easily my favorite book so far this year. I don't know what might beat it this year, because it's set a very high bar. There you go. Those were my top 5 books so far this year. Hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in another video real soon. Bye!